6:30.
6:30, yeah. All right. Well, the Hangouts is now live, so now I'm sure people will be jumping on here within a few minutes. So, all right. Well,
Let me post that.
all right. Well, we're live, and yeah, I'm glad that we got to have Jeff with us. Jeff hasn't been with us in a while, and Jeff Canny. For those who don't know Jeff Canny, he is the little brother to Fred Canny. So, welcome aboard.
Welcome, welcome.
And also, Fred, Jeff used to join us in the past, and so he thought it'd be maybe some fun to join in on this tonight. So, all right, I'm getting feedback. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I turned it off. It was me. My phone.
Oh, okay. So, all right. Well, Jeff, I just wanted to. I know you get out to the woods. Have you been out to the woods lately?
Oh, not since it turned cold.
Yeah. So
I did take a ride through there after we got that big snow. Just to see, because I wanted to go hiking up on the parkway.
Oh, yeah.
And so I went up to the parkway, and of course the parkway's closed because all the trees, that ice storm we had. So I went down on the coal road, and luckily somebody went through and trimmed all the trees that had fallen down.
Yeah.
It was a jigsaw puzzle, but it wasn't too bad.
When you go in there, which way do you going through the Stewart's Draft then?
That's the end I normally go in, but this time, since I was up on the mountain, I went through the other end.
Yeah, last time I came through there, and I came in through there with my father's Dodge Neon, and I tell you what, the road, as I'm sure you've seen, the roads, it was partially washed out right there, and it was kind of rough. But yeah, I got through there. It was all right. But so yeah, because I'm driving Dad's a Neon right now, because my van's currently, well, it needs to be taken care of. I need something to do with the power steering pump.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. So, yeah, I noticed there's a lot of down debris in there and everything. So,
yeah, it's a shame because I have no clue when the parkway's going to open back up and with the government shut down.
Yeah, I know. I was up in the parkway a few weeks ago before anything happened. It was actually the day I was up there. It was very beautiful weather.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a nice scene and everything, and ended up meeting a young couple that were up there from Maryland, and they saw me overlooking at one of the overlooks. I had my camcorder out, and I gave them a small chat, and I said, hey, how you guys doing? I said, this is beautiful scenery out here, huh? And I happened to mention that, yes, I'm looking out here trying to scan for wildlife.
Uh-huh.
And the guy from out of nowhere says, well, I'm out here looking for Bigfoot. I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
I said, really? I said, it's funny you say that. I went and grabbed him, gave him one of my cards. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it was funny because his girlfriend or wife or whoever she was, she kind of laughed. And he was like, yeah, I'm a firm believer. She's not. I said, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah. But, yeah, I was up there looking for any massive sized creatures that might have been roaming the area. But, from that view, you thought they would have stuck out. But I guess they must have found a cave to crawl into or something. But
And you didn't see any tracks or anything?
No, no massive sized craters or anything. So, oh man. So, Jeff, when's the last time you've been out with your brother? I know Fred gets out quite a bit.
Yeah, he has all the camping trips during the summer.
Oh, okay.
A friend of mine, Travis, and I went out with him one evening. Of course, we had our pistols with us. And after we didn't see anything that evening, that was the reason we didn't see anything, because we had our pistols on us.
Oh, okay. So, well, if it gets dark, if you have lights, you won't see nothing either.
True.
From what I understand.
Yeah.
So.
Plus,
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I've had a lot of issues with my back, so when I did go out, I was on this medicine that just ruined my sleeping habits. So I couldn't stay up past like 8 or 9 o'clock. So
right.
He's like, "Oh, you should have stayed up. They were all over the place." So I either missed them because of my weapon, or I missed them because I went to bed early.
Oh man. So yeah. Well, what's your thought about that? Your take on that? It's as far as like, because there's a few of us that went out there on a Friday, recently on a Friday night with lights, and no, we've heard things. Don't get me wrong. We heard things. We had some tree knocks around us, and and heard some things very distant.
Yeah.
So, but I was told the very reason we didn't see nothing, they didn't show themselves because we had the lights. So, I mean, maybe that could be true. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm a skeptic anyway.
Right.
I would like to believe that something exists, but I haven't seen evidence to sway me yet.
Yeah.
So.
Hi, Sam.
Yeah. Hey,
What's
Sam
up,
made it in
guys?
here.
I want to
What's
call
up?
myself a. Well, hey, Sam, how you doing?
Good.
I like to think myself as a helpful skeptic.
Right.
I want you guys to be successful. But I don't see it yet. I don't. Of course, Fred's got lots of pictures and videos, but they're not enough to convince me.
Right.
Of course, he says that I don't know what I'm looking at, but anything bipedal that's shaped like a human, I'm pretty sure I can pick out of a picture. So.
Yeah, because you've actually discussed with me, if you don't mind me bringing this up, that you had your take on some of these photos, and like you said, they're not for you. They're not enough to convince you.
It's probably not that. I try to explain that you can't just take a video a couple years after you shot the video and find a dark shape and say it's a Sasquatch.
Right.
I mean, if you were taking the video and you saw a Sasquatch, and then you're taking a video of the Sasquatch, then take a picture, then yes, you can say it's a Sasquatch. But it doesn't matter how many years you've been doing it. If you just look at a picture and there's a black spot on it, you're not 100%. You can't be 100% sure of what it is.
Right.
Unless you saw the Bigfoot when you took the picture. It's just guesswork at that point.
Yeah, I agree. That makes a lot of sense. Because I have spoken to people who claim that they've been involved with Bigfoot research 40 to 50 years and may have only seen one, maybe two, in their lifetime.
Yeah.
Then on the other hand, some that claim they have never seen any at all.
Yeah.
And speaking to others involved that who have had shared encounters, that may have seen one. Like we were talking, we were speaking fairly recent that a lot of times it's happened by chance. It's never a planned thing. But then you got people that go out. Well, some people have a designated camp that they like to go to all the time. I do. I have a designated camp. There's a reason behind I like going to that camp, because in the surrounding general area, it's always produced some kind of activity. And and the thing is, I've always brought others with me where I've had others that can share or witness what things. Sometimes it's not always the case. You may not get nothing. I've been out there sometimes for a week at a time and been totally disappointed.
Yeah.
And I guess that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
Then on the other hand, you have some that claim that, hey, you come out here, I guarantee you'll see something.
Yeah. Well,
I wish I had a spot like that.
Sam made an excellent point the other night. He said the majority, 90% or whatever, of Bigfoot sightings are by accident. People driving down the road and see one walk across the road, or that's the majority of them. The very first book I read was this one right here from John Green.
Oh, okay.
And 90% of that book is accidental sightings. There's people, of course, going out looking, but they're not seeing anything.
Yeah, I have a book that's very similar to that. It's not within reach or anything right now, but it's called Apes Living Among Us by Lauren Coleman, cryptozoologist from out of Maine.
Okay, I got one from him too.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't have that one. I got this one.
Wait a minute, what's that one? Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
True Story of Apes in America.
Yes, that's it. I'm sorry, I got the name mixed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the same exact one I got.
Yeah.
And it's very fascinating because it shares a lot of stories, both here on the East Coast, the Midwest, out west, and I found that very fascinating. So yeah, are those the two Bigfoot books you have?
The only two I have.
Oh, okay, no problem. I don't have many either. I mean, I have a few. One of my favorite books, which I'm sure you probably heard of it. I know a lot of people have. It's one of my favorite books. They actually have a document. Let me turn my camera on. I'll share it to you guys.
Oh, the
Um,
Bigfoot Report, sure.
no, no, no,
Okay, I've
no.
seen it.
Sasquatch Legend meets Science.
Uh,
So, and yeah, they had the documentary based on a lot of the evidence, all the information that's in this book. So, and they speak about the Patterson footage in here too. So, pretty cool book.
who wrote that one?
So, this is Dr. Jeff Meldrum.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
I want to get Kathy Strain's book.
Oh, which one is that?
The one about cannibals and what is it? Oh, now I can't think of the name. Let me look real quick.
All right. Hold on 1 second.
I think I want to say I got the movie The Legend of Boggy Creek. I think
there you go. Oops. Giants, cannibals, and monsters. Bigfoot and native culture. It's the one that looks like this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I've seen a picture of that online somewhere.
Yeah, I want to get that one.
All right. I just shared the link too. I forgot I didn't share this earlier, and I just now shared it. So we got 12 viewers on right now. So
I shared it in my group, and I shared it to Squatch Watchers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Squatch Watchers, they haven't been around here in a few days. I've been trying to reach out to them. They
disappeared for a week. I haven't talked to them either.
Don't hold me to this, but I thought they were involved in doing some kind of. I think they've been going out and doing some working on a project regarding some filming.
Probably.
Yeah, I thought I heard something like that. I'm not really sure. But there was something I was going to ask, and I totally lost my train of thought. I'm sure it'll come back to me here after a while. We were talking about Bigfoot books, and I have a few here. I'm trying to see if I have any. I got this one book that was sent to me. It was sent out to several people, kind of more of a promo by Mr. Greg Dorham. And it was actually, a lot of people like to write books based off of their encounter, their sightings.
Yeah.
And this one here is based off of a true story. And I have not had the chance to read it yet. It's not a real big book. And it's got a little over 100 odd, pages. It's called The Day I Met Bigfoot. So, and it's called by, Craig Dorham. So, I think he's from out of California. Yep.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of you probably have a guy named William Dranginis?
Oh yeah, he recently passed away, if I'm not mistaken, right?
What?
If it's the guy, yeah, I think from Virginia, right?
Yeah, the video guy.
Yeah, Bill passed away, unfortunately, and I knew him very well, actually.
Wow. Yeah, it was but a
very, very, very smart man. Worked for the government, invented a lot of camera equipment.
Wow,
he was, top-notch guy.
He was one of our customers. I used to teach cam software.
Yeah.
And I found I was at work looking up Bigfoot stuff, and I saw his name and where he worked. I'm like, oh, I think they're a customer of ours. So of course I had his email on my computer because they're a customer, and so I emailed him. And I was teaching a class up near Manassas. And I got in touch with him, and we went out to lunch, and he shared his story with me. And he was a real interesting fella. Of course, that was years ago, though. Yeah, it says he died of pancreatic cancer. in December.
Yeah. Yeah. How old was he?
59.
59. Wow. Yeah, to me, I still consider that very young.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the older you get, the numbers don't mean much anymore.
Right.
Right.
Oh man.
Wow.
Nikki, I see you're dealing with
Oh yeah.
That is,
Well,
I guess that's his YouTube name.
Yeah, I may support that, but not not now, not on this channel. So I kind of have to squash that.
Yeah, it's actually I'm almost kind of laughing at it though. It's funny because I mean I do agree with him, but he's
it's not
at the wrong place, wrong time. Yeah.
Right.
I must have missed something. I'm trying to watch it.
No, it's on the. Oh no, it's on the live chat. The YouTuber goes by the name of Trump supporter. Build that wall. So.
I was being fair, so I took it off. But
very cool though. Anyway. Yeah, you watching the game? Who's winning right now? I know last time I saw the Patriots were.
Yeah, they're still winning 17-7.
Nice.
Oh my God, my Saints lost. It was so depressing.
If New England wins, I'm not even watching the Super Bowl.
Oh, come on, Jeff.
Well, the Rams barely pulled it out. They're not going to beat them.
Yeah. Oh man. So, for those on the live chat, I want to give you guys a heads up. Right now, as you know, our regular panel right here. Everyone knows Nikki Cologne, Sam Deloach is with us, and we have Mr. Ryan Reedon, and special guest joining us tonight, Jeff Canny, aka Fred Canny's younger brother. So we're open to, we're always open to questions. If you have anything you want to know, or if you have a question, just please feel free to ask. We're watching the live chat. So, we do have a question that just popped up after saying that. Do you go walking through the woods or do you go camping while looking? Since most time sightings are accidental. That's a good question.
Yeah. I don't go looking. Of course, I'm a skeptic, so I'm not going to be looking too much. I do a lot of four-wheeling, so I am out in the woods. If I see something, I see something.
Yeah. For me to answer that question, I do a little bit of both. At night I like to hang around the camp. There's times where I'll wander off. I'll hike through the woods at night. And sometimes if it's more than one, if there's a few of us, sometimes we'll walk together as a group, or we'll split up with radio communication, and we might experiment. We might do some tree knocks, some whoops or howls back and forth, and wait and see if we get responses from them. I've always gotten responses from tree knocks. I thought I'd share that. I never got responses from my howls vocals. Now, Greg Corbin, who comes out with us, we've actually had identical responses from his howls, and which were one of the last times Greg came out with us in camp. That's when that happened, and I thought that was very fascinating because I've never gotten responses from my vocals, only tree knocks I've gotten back. So, because I've had tree knocks happen to me both day and night up off of Cole Road. And I've had responses during the daytime up over there in West Augusta, where I go camping. So,
how successful are your group outings?
Usually they average when we get together, when people come out, they average anywhere between a total of 6 to sometimes up to 9 of us total.
Yeah.
So, which to me, that's actually a pretty good number without overdoing it.
Right. But as far as reactions,
they vary. They really do vary. I can recall, I want to say it was back in 2000, was it 16? 2016, I think it was. The one time I had Dad actually came out and camped with us. We had a little bit that happened. The first 2 days was pretty much dull. Nothing was going on. But the third night, we were sitting around a campfire, probably about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And Dad, he was tired. He had just took his medication because he was on heart medicine at the time. And he had just gone to lay down in his tent. The rest of us were still hanging around the campfire. Even though he was tired, he still had trouble sleeping. So he was quiet in his tent, but it was dead silent. There was no wind ever that evening anyway. But we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, it sounded like somebody took a Louisville Slugger and swung it full force up against a solid tree.
Wow.
And that tree, that was right across from our camp. And Dad came out of his tent quick, and he said, "I heard that," and I couldn't help but laugh. I laughed. I said, "I told you," because I'm always telling them stories, things I hear and experience, and when he came out, I was pointing in the direction, came from right over there, and when I pointed in the direction where it came, back in 2014, that's when we've had an encounter over there back in 2014. And which was very interesting because a lot of activity takes place in that particular area.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff, you're familiar with that area. When I say that part of the woods, it's over there. You know where the entrance of Elkhorn Lake is?
Yeah.
Now the camp spot where we camp out a lot is right across that one open spot right across the entrance. And over there behind the Johnny houses and everything, that's where we've had, we've heard a lot from there. And just beyond there is where we've had 6 of us shared an encounter together one time back in 2014. So, and that was very, very interesting. So, I've heard stories. I've gathered reports from there, and I've had people share stuff with me that didn't even know that I was involved with Bigfoot. And for them to come out and share what they said they saw, I find that very credible because, So, going out there is not guaranteed you're going to see anything. It's also not guaranteed you're going to hear anything. But, I've been surprised quite a few times. There's one incident I share. It was 2015. I was camping by myself during the hunting season. And I wasn't in that direct spot. There was a smaller spot right up over, just over next to there through the woods. And there was in the other spot where we normally camp, nobody was there. And so there's no camping spots that close nearby besides those 2. And so I'm over there camping, and I had my Chevy Blazer at the time. And so I had my shotgun, my shotgun was out, but it was leaning up against the back of the Blazer. And something told me, let me grab my spotlight, and I walk out to the middle of the road. Now, keep in mind, when I walked out to the middle of the road, the spotlight was not turned on. I did not turn it on until I got to the middle of the road. And I'm standing out in the middle of the road in pitch darkness. And then that's when I decided to start turning on. I pulled the trigger on the spotlight. And basically, if you're looking at it in a clock position, I started scanning the tree line real slowly, starting around the 10 o'clock position. And as soon as I turned the spotlight on, all of a sudden you could hear, I didn't see it, but you could hear a deer. Like I must have spooked a deer because you could hear it run off. And I was like, oh, cool. So I'm starting to scan, going from my left to my right. As soon as I passed 12 o'clock, as soon as I hit about between 1, almost 2 o'clock, is when I heard the next thing. Keep in mind, I still didn't see nothing, but what I heard next was something very large and heavy walking away from me. And when I say walking away, I describe it as bipedal because you can hear each step crunch, and like every step had a crunch and a thump to it, and you get like the thought just to hear it, you can almost feel it in your chest. And of course, being by myself, I was very nervous. I was on edge when I heard that because it was like it wasn't walking towards me, it was actually walking away from me. So, and when I heard that, I started walking backwards back to my camp. And I had my keys on my belt loop, and I was pushing the button, beep beep, make sure my vehicle was unlocked so I could get in it if I had to. So, but yeah, that was I found that very, very interesting, exciting. I stayed close to the fire. I made sure the fire got bigger and kept the shotgun in hand. But everything was cool that night, So I didn't hear no more after that, But But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that took place in that area. I have found tracks in from that very area. So I feel convinced that hey, after my encounter in 2014 and hearing that and different things, I'm convinced that there's definitely Squatches that inhabit that particular area.
Yeah.
So, but
that's cool.
Yeah, so that's my rambling right there. So, okay, we got a question on here, and Jeff, I'm gonna let you take a first whack at this one. The question is coming from Mr. James Parrish. How do you feel about Fred's theory of Squatches hiding in the open and our brains supposedly not being programmed to see them? That's a good question right there.
I actually think Fred's right on that one, but I don't think he words it right. It's like I used to do a lot of groundhog hunting, and when I first started out, of course, I was only 12 or 13 years old at the time, and starting out, I couldn't find any. And the guy I was riding with, he'd see them everywhere. Like, how in the world can this guy see all these groundhogs? And the more I did it, the more I saw. And it wasn't that they were hiding. It's just that my eyes didn't know what to look for. The color just blends in so well. It's just like a deer. I mean, you can have 4 or 5 deer out in the woods and not see any of them until one of them moves. They're not hiding. It's just that their natural color blends in so well. And so when he says they hide in the open, I don't think that they're hiding per se. I think what he means to say is they're always out in the open. You just can't see them.
Right.
That's the way I would say it if I wasn't a skeptic.
Right. Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, Zach on the live chat says they're masters of camouflage. He says, I've taken photographs of deer before and didn't catch them until after I blew up the photo.
Right.
So, and then Truth Paranormal says you got to train the eyes. So.
Right.
Okay. All right, that's interesting.
You still have that picture? You still have that picture I sent you?
Yeah, I could pull that up. That is on. Yeah. When you said that was a bear, I honestly try to look through that. I couldn't really picture that as a bear either. I mean, I was like,
yeah. Now I'm not gonna say who I showed it to, but I showed it to a Bigfoot individual. And,
okay.
And swore up and down. I'm not going to say he or she, but this person swore up and down that was a Bigfoot. But then I showed on the actual video that it was taken from, and you see a bear walk right out from behind the tree. So it just goes to show that even though you have a picture and you say something is a Bigfoot, doesn't mean you really know. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it or how new you are. You got to know what you're looking at. You got to have some context of what's in the picture.
Oh, wow.
So right there in the middle.
Yeah, it looks long. It looks like it's up long.
It's just a bear. He's on all fours.
Up against a tree.
Yep. Well,
what's your comment for that?
He's kind of in between 2 trees.
Mm-hmm.
But right after that frame, he sticks his head out. Then you can obviously tell it's a bear.
Oh, wow.
But then he runs off.
Okay, so this was actually part of a video.
Yes.
Okay. That is interesting. Is this up off the Cole Road somewhere?
I think it's up near Mount Jackson.
Okay.
A friend of mine on Facebook posted it. I'm like, look at that.
Pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm familiar with the Mount Jackson area, but I've never really been out that way per se to really look around.
Yeah, he's got a beautiful spot. If you take a right off the interstate, it heads right to the foot of the mountain, and he's got a house tucked back there in the woods. Real nice spot.
Nice. Huh. Zach said, "I'm sorry, I'm not on any of the latest podcasts, folks." He says, "I'm too doped up on pain meds." He said he messed up his back and shoulder recently.
Share the wealth, man.
All right. Well, that is very interesting. Didn't know that. So, oh, we got Pauline. Hello, Pauline. She said hello, Daniel, and other speakers.
Hello.
So, Sam, you're quiet. You have anything you want to jump in on there?
No, I'm just amazed at how much different brothers are. No, I mean it's blowing my mind here that they're just two totally different views. And I'm in Jeff's camp, so I mean I'm skeptical. You guys know that.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I'd like to believe. I want to believe. I did believe at one time, but the lack of evidence. I mean, what, since 1967,
Mm-hmm.
a good video hasn't been shown. So
Yeah.
I mean, other than the Freeman footage, I love the Freeman footage.
I do too.
I do too. A lot of people don't like it though.
I think it's probably the best footage ever since the Patterson Gimlin found.
Yeah, but you're right. It would be. I think we need more videos with movement. But it'd be great to get something like the Patterson footage to happen again. But with today's technology,
right?
I mean,
you would think it would happen more.
Right.
And the one thing, in my opinion, the one thing that hurts us the most is the overabundance of hoaxing that is going on.
Right. Yeah.
So that does not help us at all.
No. So that leads me to ask you, Daniel, if you actually ran up on a Bigfoot, and you had your shotgun, would you take the shot?
Only if I'm being attacked.
Oh, come on now.
I would have to defend myself. Yeah, I would have
to put an end to the question. I would. Heck yeah.
Okay, so if you would, we wouldn't be afraid of any backlash or of the men in black, supposedly the government coming and sweeping you away. And
nope.
It just make life a little more interesting than my 9-to-5
job. Oh man.
Hey Jeff, what's your stance on DNA? What do you think about that whole DNA thing? Are we going to get DNA? I mean, I know this whole new thing with Pauline just came out, and that's actually really super interesting. I was just reading that today, and Sam is right. That shit's got some really interesting stuff there.
Yeah.
I read briefly about it where it said it's not Neanderthal.
Yeah, not Denisovian and not Neanderthal, but human.
It said, it said it's a type of people, but very far different than human. So when it's saying people, but far from human, that's like, what are they exactly saying there?
I know, but it's not primate. So remember how I said a long time ago, it came off its own branch.
Right.
Not the human, not the primate, but it's its own thing, because like Fred said, it mated with a bunch of different things, and it created something totally different.
Right.
So that makes sense to me.
Right.
But I think he even said in the article, didn't it even say something about them having intellect and thinking?
Yeah, it said that. Yep.
So that's not far off.
So that's leaning more towards the human aspect of.
Let me see if I can bring that up.
Yeah, like human, but just a different different branch, different.
Right.
Yeah, because
they aren't going to be charging their credit cards. You know what I mean?
Where the heck is that? There we go. All right.
But you know who did the study, right?
Huh.
Melba Ketchum.
Oh,
No,
well, I guess I don't
Yeah.
need to worry about that
that's
one, do I?
garbage.
But it was new, and I hadn't heard she had gotten herself involved again in something new. So, but once I read further and it said Ketchum, I was like, "Oh crap!
I'm kind
Here
of
we
afraid
go
to ask
again."
what peer group did she go through for that one.
I spoke with her a few months, maybe 6 months ago.
Tell us, what did she say?
Well, she was inquiring to certain people to collect samples, and she was asking if certain people had samples that they would basically submit. And I said, well, I do, but mine are currently in New York City, at another individual's place. And she said if I got any to let her know, and that they were doing a new study and blah, blah, blah. But she claims that she really can't talk a lot because everything that she does is monitored, like her phone calls and her internet, Facebook stuff, everything she says gets monitored. And I don't know by who or what, but, basically she just didn't go into too much detail, but she asked if I had any samples.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty awesome.
I talk to her every once in a while. People kind of try to throw her under the bridge because of what had happened in the past. But you got to remember, this lady did, even though she did veterinary and stuff, she did a lot of DNA testing for a really long time at a reputable lab. She had her connections in the field. And when you come out with something like this, A, you are going to get thrown under the bus. And B, the biggest thing was the journal. What people are looking at is, or knocking her for, is because she had to basically throw this thing together and make her own journal. Why? Because the mainstream didn't want to support it. You see what I'm saying? Like that's the end all be all right there. Try to get all the scientists and universities on board that she sent, her samples or everybody's samples away to these labs who blind tested them and came back with the same results. It's not her downfall. It's just the process that she took that people, basically ended her career in an essence.
Wait till somebody finds some real DNA, then everybody will jump on board. That's gonna be where the money's at.
Well, this had to be real DNA that was tested because she sent it to a number of different universities that came back and labs that came back. This is what it is, and we can't find it. And she had all that results. And then she told these places, well, it's Bigfoot. This is what we're trying to do with this DNA. Blah, blah, blah. That's when they were like, no, you can't use us. You can't, we don't want to be held liable and everything else. So, and then they went on to talk about this angel DNA, which I'll stick up for her. She never really said that. And it was never in the report. That was made up. If you read the report, it does not say anything about angel DNA from the father's side. So somebody, obviously in the community, wherever, kind of just made that up and blasted it out there. You know what I mean? Not that she's, I'm not going to knock her because she did her thing and she actually tried for us. You see what I'm saying? She took that step forward, like Brian Sykes did. But I mean, that's the problem. Everybody wants to knock people and they don't know the whole story. They just know like what they're told or what they heard from a third party or a fifth party or online. It's not that I'm going to knock her because it is what it is. But, she's got something new in the works and it's, different. You never know. What I think she should have done is got these universities on board in the beginning. And basically said, hey, this is what I want to do. This is what we have. Will you back us? Instead of doing a blind study, getting the results, and then throwing it on them, and then they panicked. She sent it to some reputable universities, like some places that you'd be like, wow, you got the same results? Like, that's crazy. Top 10 in the country. And it's just, I don't know. It is what it is, but that's where my research is at. I'm kind of through with the video and the everything because that's not going to prove anything here nor there. A video, a photo, that's going to do nothing. You're still going to be like Patterson footage from 50, 60 years ago, debating. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to fall into the audio and really go back into my sample gathering like I did before and focus on that.
Yeah, I think Daniel said earlier that it's going to take science to figure it out. Photos and videos just aren't going to do it.
Right. Everybody will always be the one to pull down the videos, and I'm that way too. I think of the more logical thing first before Bigfoot.
And the craziest thing is everything leaves a footprint, not literally, but like your carbon footprint, your green footprint in the woods, in on Earth. They do the same thing. And if you really pay attention, or you are into like a habituation situation, DNA really isn't that hard to obtain. I mean, it is, but I don't know how to word that any better. But it's not as hard
always
as
contaminated. That's the problem.
Well, that's not the problem.
You can get the DNA, but it's always gonna be contaminated, which is gonna just throw the whole sample out.
Well, I had a sample myself that was sent to Todd Dissatel. That's where some of my samples, still are sitting. But it came back, human. Now, this hair was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 inches long. It was in one of our, I'll call it containment units that we made to obtain samples without hurting them. This thing was 8 feet off the ground, hanging in a tree, and it was ripped down off the tree when we got to it. And I was the only one that ever touched anything. The rest of the team, would just roll footage and, whatever. And when I started with Todd, he told me always wear a mask and wear gloves. And, I use tweezers when I would pull the hairs. And so there's no possible way that myself would have, contaminated anything. So when he came back, it was human. He came back and told me, it's human, so it must be contaminated. But this is where David Paulides was talking, that instead of thinking it's like regular human contamination, it might be something else. They actually might be a breed of human that we're just picking up on, and we don't know how to test it. We don't know how to overlook it. Maybe the technology isn't there to figure it out. Obviously, we don't have anything to compare it to. So it's like, okay, that's what the sequence falls. It looks human. That's what it is. And we just let it go. You know what I mean? And maybe we've had the proof the whole time. We just didn't have it tested right. Maybe we didn't have the technology to say, hey, this is another type of human species just because it fell under human origins. We need to keep going here.
Yeah.
So that's...
We always have to think of all the other things that could have happened. Like, okay, for example, when I was younger and my mom used to brush my hair, she would brush my hair, and on my hair, she would throw that little clump outside, and I would ask her, what are you doing? She goes, oh, the birds use it to make their nests. And sure enough, they would come and they would take that water away. I mean, there's that's a far-fetched kind of a example, but
I get what you're saying. But like personally for myself, I know what you're saying, but my containment units, the chances of birds going in it were slim to none.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it was totally different. You know what I mean? You would have had it was different. And I mean, and a bird doesn't, I mean, the chances of a bird, I mean, probably the same chances as a Bigfoot, going into your trap, stealing your steak, ripping it down, and then you find this hair, and put it in a glass vial and do what you need to do and get it sent off, and then it comes back as human, and you're kind of like, nobody found this, nobody knew where this was. This is, I don't know. It was the same time we had the game camera ripped down off the tree. So it was like,
you had a bunch of other stuff going on at that time. So
I had a lot of things going on. Like, we did obtain photos. We got some things. We got a video that, is, I didn't even notice it. It was just when I was in there switching out trail cameras. And
I remember that one. It was something, you caught something moving in the background.
Yeah,
right.
And it was zoomed in, and it drops to all fours and takes off rapidly. And it's interesting stuff. I mean, but I'm a believer. I'm a knower just because I've seen them with the naked eye. With even with other people, I've seen them. So, I
like
can't go.
Oh,
Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, like, your profile picture that you're using right here. I still look at that photo, the trail cam shot. That there definitely puzzles me. I was like, what in the world? Because
That's 100%. That's a juvenile Bigfoot. As well as I know, it's brightened up. I have the original, but I brightened it up a little bit. I'm not gonna say there's nothing else in the woods that should look like that. Nothing should have hair with a facial profile. What kind of looks like a ape Neanderthal in Western New York. It took me a long time just to get that type of photo. But every day. I mean, I was 6-8 weeks straight when I was habituating, and 5 days a week, and it got tiring. Every day we'd be there 6 p.m. refilling the containers, doing everything, and you kind of do. You get a rapport with them. It's almost like a trust or a bond. I would say they're smart enough to know that you're there. You're taking the same path in. They like to see repeatability. You know what I mean? They like, in my mind, because they follow the same routes a lot of times. They do a lot of the same things to stay elusive. You see what I'm saying? So if we start to do the same things, they're going to pick up on that. They're coming at the same time. They're doing this over and over. It's repeatability, so they can predict what we're doing, so they're not caught out there. So when I had this rapport, when our team had this rapport with them, we just got lucky. We found where they were, and I said, let's hit it. We got to make a commitment right now. It's not let's wait a week. It's not let's wait 6 months. We found where they're at. Let's make the commitment. Let's do it. And that's what we did. And we obtained photos and trail cam, and the only reason I got this trail camera photo here, that was by luck. I just decided to put it in an area like 2.5 feet off the ground. I noticed they were always coming from like the northeast to the southwest. And I was like, wait a minute. If they continue to come that way and people talk about, well, I'm going to set up a game camera, and 9 out of 10, if you're looking for a deer, let's say, you're going to face it in the area you think the deer is coming from or where the deer is going to be. So what I did is completely opposite. I said, well, if they're coming from the northeast headed to the southwest, I'm going to face the camera to the southwest. So hopefully it walks by it and passes it. And I got lucky. And to me, I know what that is. I mean, it's not a bear. I just, you could tell by the hair. And the funny part was this same individual here, I had another picture of from like a year later. But that picture still kind of like, I think we talked about it before, Nikki, and we all couldn't agree on kind of what it was. But when I compared the side visual profile from that to this, they kind of look the same. So, I mean, I guess when you're in the heat of the moment doing the research, knowing what's going on in the woods and knowing what animals are in the area at that time, that's when you can definitively say, hey, that's a Sasquatch, or I believe it is because of, if you're not seeing bears repeatedly or deer, you know how it is. Sometimes there will be all kinds of deer in one area of the woods, and then they're gone. It's ghost. So, you know what's coming in and out of your area. So I was just lucky to obtain these things. But like I said, I'm just going to, I guess, focus on samples. That's where the end all be all is. And, short of actually shooting one, I guess. But I'm really going to focus on the samples.
I think at the time I had said, I was arguing with you that I thought it was a root ball or something.
Oh, yeah, the other one, yeah.
I think that's what I was it this one or was it another one? I can't remember.
It was a different one.
Oh, okay.
If I was on my laptop, I could share it with you guys. But this definitely wasn't.
But it was still just a healthy, talk between us, and that was it. Okay, you saying that's your Bigfoot, that's your Bigfoot, that's it.
Oh, I'm open for healthy discussion all the time.
And you're open, and that's the way it should be. That you can just allow people to give their criticism and let it be healthy. Don't let it be all nasty and,
Hey, you
you
can have your
know.
opinion. I have mine. Everybody's got theirs.
Right.
I
It's
don't.
good. And look, you've changed a lot. I mean, from the first time I met you, you have come like in this full circle. So you never know what's going to happen according to your experiences.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
grow with it. It grows on you. Well, like I said, I would have never got into this if it wasn't for my first encounter. Never. No way.
Mm-hmm.
I would think people are bananas.
What
100%.
Right.
what was your first encounter?
My first encounter was I was doing some metal detecting. It was kind of like a hobby that we used to do a lot. So we go out around like old home sites, the wells and all that, and foundations, and just metal detect. Well, I was in the woods one day, had my dog tied up, and I was walking around this old well, and I come up to a home foundation, and I had to walk under a branch. When I did that, I had to stoop down and pick my head back up. As I did, I looked up the hill, maybe 20 feet from me, and it was halfway out behind a tree looking at me. And it really didn't register at first. So I like looked back down, and then it like hit me. And I looked back up, and it was like moving out from behind the tree. And when it noticed that I noticed it bared the bottom teeth to me. I see no canines. They were straight block teeth. It bared its bottom teeth. It had this ugly look on it. It shocked me. I was just floored. Like I had no idea like what I'm witnessing. It went down on all fours. As it turned away from me. I could see all the digits on its, on the hand. I could see all the fingers. I could see the skin. We're talking 20 feet. And when it took off, it took off. I mean, it probably covered 200 yards, like I said before, in like 6 seconds.
Wow.
This thing was booking, and it goes up a hill and over, and I mean, it seemed like boom, 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 gone. Like I was like frozen. I just stood there, like I didn't know what to do, and then something in my mind was like, run, just get the hell out of here. I ran back to my dog, which was 75 to 100 yards away, grabbed the dog, ran down the hill, got to the truck, and I was out of there. I was just, it scared me. I'm not going to lie. It scared me. And I didn't tell anybody that. I waited like a year until we had our second encounter. I was with another buddy, and we were doing some detecting on the other side of this location, about 2.5 miles as the bird flies straight through. There's another access point, and we went up there, and we were doing some detecting, and he seen the big one first. It was toward the end of the day. We had done like 4 hours of detecting, and we were both walking out to a main trail, which is in one of the documentaries. And he's walking at me, and I'm kind of walking at him, and he looks up the trail, and he's kind of pointing, and he's like, look, there's something in the trail, up, people, person, something. I took the headphones off from the metal detector. I said, what'd you say? And I look up there, and there's this thing, maybe 200 yards, but it's all open. It's an open trail where you could walk or snowmobile. The trail wide is maybe 50 yards. And we're looking at this thing, and we're standing shoulder to shoulder now, kind of. And as we look at this thing, it stands up. When it stood up, it was massive. I mean, we ended up getting an approximate height on this thing a few days later, but it stood up, and it's like looking at us. And this thing was probably 4 foot wide, and I know from the follow-up investigation I did where it hit its head on a branch, the branch from the ground was 9'8".
Wow.
Yeah, it was massive. I mean, and my buddy's just looking at it, and he's like, dude, what is that? Like, he's frozen. He's got the metal detecting shovel in his hand, and I'm like, dude, what are you going to do with that? You're going to dig your own grave with that. Just put that thing down. I swear to you, I'm like, I'm not even lying to you. Like, I've never seen one bigger than this. I probably wouldn't want to, but it just, as it turned away, and it took 2 steps, and it walked off the trail into the woods. And my buddy was just like, Brian was just like looking. And I'm like, dude, that's a fucking Bigfoot. Excuse my language. That's exactly how I said it. And he's like, no. He just kept saying, no. I'm like, Brian, it's like 6:30 in the evening. nobody's going to walk down through that brush that's that big on stilts. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't pan out, brother. Like you don't understand. And later on, he came around. You know, I don't know through fruition or what, but he was in denial that he would admit that he's seen it, but he would be like, I don't know. You know, I think it scared him so much that, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. What about today? Is he still in denial?
He has passed away.
Oh,
Oh man.
Unfortunately, two of my best friends, researchers, have passed away. One was just New Year's Eve, unfortunately, and the other one was Brian was probably close to 4 years now, passed away.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, yeah. Well, they do things they shouldn't have done, and that happens. But unfortunately, I don't know. It is what it is. So I've got one or two other guys that I go out with, but it's something that I won't do alone after I've seen what they're capable of and what they can do. I mean, if you're really thinking that this is flesh and blood and it's a straight ape type or even hybrid or human, they're stronger than you. They're smarter than you. They're able to engage you in ways that, you know, that's their home turf. You know, that'd be like me attacking you at your home or coming to your home. You know the ins and outs. You know everything. And that's the way I look at it. You know, they can do things to you that, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, all these stories are real or not, but you hear about people getting attacked. You hear about things happening. And I'm not saying they're all bad. You know, every Bigfoot out there isn't bad, but you never know. You could just run across one that's, who knows if it's mating season or pissed off or whatever it is, and then you're stuck, you know? So I don't do it alone. I don't know. I see Daniel goes alone. I think he's crazy, though. I think he's nuts.
He better use that shotgun.
Well, you know, like I mentioned before, I've had people ask me, do I take a sidearm? I have. I do own a 45 pistol, you know, and I have taken it with me on a few times. A lot of times I carry a Bowie knife, you know, and I know that's whatever, but
Ain't no knife gonna do a damn thing to them, and you know that.
Well, hey, the Bowie knife comes in handy if I find tracks. I use it for scale. So, but well, I wanted to ask Jeff a question now with the story that Ryan just shared with us, along with look at all the history of sightings and reports. I mean, not just recent, but there's stories that date 100 years plus back. I mean, how do you look at that as a skeptic? Do you consider them in any possible way as there's got to be truth behind it, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, I can't come out and tell them they're lying,
right?
Because I just don't know. Now I tend to believe that one because it's a lot like William Dringennison's story. He was out metal detecting with
Really?
some other ex FBI agents, and they saw one run from one side of the path to the other. That's what got him into it.
In my honest opinion, not to cut you off, I believe they are attracted to the sound that the metal detector makes. When you use certain types of metal detectors, I have a few Whites metal detectors and some Garrett's. And my buddy really wasn't using headphones that day, so his White's detector was going whoop whoop. When you hit a signal and you find a target, it makes these noises.
Yeah.
Whoop whoop. So I'm wondering if they hear these noises and are attracted to that. Before I thought it was the frequency. A lot of people talk about infrasound. So I thought maybe since these are multi-frequency detectors, they give off frequencies into the ground or whatever it is. But I'm trying to get away from that, as I explained to Daniel the other night. So I'm trying to really just look at it as a flesh and blood creature. But if you ever do see one, it will change your perspective on everything that you do, especially hunting.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I want to believe that they exist. It's just going to have to take me seeing one for myself.
Yeah.
I'm just not one. I mean, I can believe a story like that. I just can't believe some of the crazy ones that you hear out there. I met a guy one time, and I knew he was into Bigfoot, and I'm always looking for the level-headed people because I consider myself level-headed. So he broke out a picture on his phone, and I'm looking through this thing, and I thought I saw something. Well, then he took the phone away from me and pointed out 6 of them. I'm like, it's just like those pictures you see on Facebook, people with all these red circles everywhere. I'm like, you can't. It's not like that. I mean, not for me. I'm not going to take every little blob that looks like a face because I can go to the bathroom and see faces in the tile on the floor. I think a lot of, going back to Daniel's question, I think a lot of sightings are just misidentifications. That's my thought. But
a lot of these things, I will say, it's over the top. A lot of people, like you said, are picking out 6, 10 of them everywhere, and they're seeing them every day. Now, the only way I believe you will see them every day is if you find their little core sanctuary during the hot time that they're there, and you might get 2 to 3 weeks of constant interaction, maybe a month. You'll get constant interaction where you might get video, you might get photo, you might get certain things because they seem to run in these family little pods, these little groups. I don't know if it's safety. I don't know if it's protection reasons. I don't know. So once in a while, you might see a photo, which possibly looks like 3 of them or 4 of them in a photo, but
right.
Photos are no good. But nowadays, it's ludicrous where people are just circling everything and pointing out 30 Bigfoot, and there's one in a tree, and one came to my backyard and was hanging out with the dog, and 2
But
of
these
them were on the
people,
roof. And
they're circling things, and they're not even taking account to scale. Like they're circling this area, and it's right next to a leaf.
Exactly.
So I'm like, this Bigfoot
Yep.
is about 5 inches tall. You know.
Yeah. I had a guy show me another picture, and I went to help him recreate this picture. This is some guy you guys don't know, but we couldn't recreate it. It was just too many trees. We couldn't figure exactly what it was, and so while we were there, I just snapped a lot of pictures. And so my old job, I worked on a computer, so I had plenty of time during the day. And so I actually found a stump, and I lined his picture up with this stump, and I had everything matched, leaf for leaf for leaf, and it was 100% a stump.
Wow.
And I showed the guy, and he still passed it off as a Bigfoot, and that I don't mind. I mean, people can do what they want, but when he gave it to someone else, they came back seeing 3 Bigfoots in the picture. I'm like, oh my gosh! So it took all the fun out of it for me. I'm like, people aren't wanting to know the truth; they're wanting a truth that they make up. It's the way I saw it.
I think you're on point there in a way, because I think when people capture what they think is a photo of a Bigfoot, they want to be the one that say, hey, I captured this, something unknown. So it's not necessarily notoriety. They just feel that, oh, look what I got. It's a Bigfoot. It's, and then if you look at a picture long enough, they're thinking that, hey, it's a Bigfoot, and that's what happens. We've all been there and done that, and you kind of got to look at things, or at least send it out to some of your people to have it evaluated, like maybe before you post it.
Right.
As of now, I think research is kind of just totally taken a dive in the dumps.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else agrees with that, but
well, I don't see it as research anymore. I mean, if you take science out of it, it's just a bunch of people hanging out in the woods, saying they see stuff, and I don't know. That's just my take.
I think people forgot to go out and have fun. Is what I think.
Yeah.
I think people were seeing a lot more stuff when they weren't paying so much attention to it. Because I've always said that the minute it's not fun anymore, that stop.
Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of things, because remember, everybody who's hiking, not even paying attention, or out with the family picnicking or driving down the highway, they're the ones that are having these chance encounters.
Hmm.
So, I mean, even your brother, he stated he doesn't go on night walks because he sees them when he just stays still in his camp.
Yeah.
I can
So,
say that I've had more daytime encounters than nighttime encounters, and I don't know if I attribute that to just being able to see better in the woods, and not
Yeah.
tripping on things, and
Maybe you've had a lot of encounters at night. You just didn't know it.
that's the problem. Right. But what does that do
Yeah.
for you? That
Yeah.
does nothing for me. That does nothing
Right.
for research. You can use these FLIRs. That's probably the better evidence that you're going to get at nighttime. But, people still will doubt it or question it or, so it's like, what do you really want out of research? I think people forgot to ask themselves that question. Are you just doing it because? Are you doing it because you want something to do? Is it just a hobby? Are you really interested? Do you want to know if they exist? Do you know that they exist? I mean, where are you with your research?
Yeah.
Where are you? What do you want to do? Like you're skeptics. You might go out once in a while, or whatever, or you might just do your hiking or four wheeling, and if you run into one, hey. But there's a lot of people that take it seriously. Like me, I have to take it serious because of what I've seen,
Right.
what we've encountered, what we've captured, what things, what audio we've caught, language and certain things. And so I know they're there. So it's like I can have fun. We can have fun and go do whatever it is. But there still has to be, like you said, that scientific aspect where you're putting the puzzle together, doing things, writing things down, taking the time out of your day to actually pay attention, not just be walking through the woods and, oh, hey, I heard something and let's videotape it. Oh, that's a Bigfoot. And, there's more that goes into it than, and I think that's where research lacks because everybody just, and partially it's our fault. It's my fault. It's Daniel's fault. It's every researcher's fault out there because 9 out of 10 of us want other people to get involved, and we tell them get in the field and they can experience, Bigfoot and things to look for, but they don't know how. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They don't know who knows if we're even doing it the right way. But some people have, I don't know, a way to do things that have been successful. So these people just pick up on other people's stuff and, well, I'm going to go do that. And they go in the woods and take 100 photos and look, I seen a Bigfoot. They have no idea what they're even doing.
Yeah.
So, but that's partially our fault because maybe we didn't explain it right or teach it right. I can't even say teach it because we're not professionals.
Right.
So,
See, when I go out in the woods, and I do it just like a lot of others do, really. But I don't have my mindset on, hey, I'm gonna find a Bigfoot today. If it happens, that's awesome. If I spot one, and just so happen to get good footage, I mean, I'm gonna be happy as heck, and I'm gonna be, excited to share it with everybody, regardless of who believes it or not. But the thing is, when I'm out in the woods, I like to take my time and explore, just look at nature, look at the wildlife, look at everything that's there or available to be seen, and just take it all in. And I find myself being very observant to the ground as well as around me. So, and if I find things that are fascinating, anywhere from a possible tree structure, I'm very, I've gotten. I will say this: I have become more objective and skeptical on tree structures and formations because I've seen what weather does, and I know what weather is capable of doing. Even some of these bent trees, bowed over trees, I could tell you anywhere from nature to a typical science what causes some of these bent trees. I mean, and I try to explain some of this in some of my videos. A bent tree is not always the force of something bringing it down. Sometimes a bowed tree or bent tree could be the form of a tree reaching for the sun because people don't realize a tree will bend over a period of time trying to stretch and reach for the sunlight. And it's the ones that I like to point out that do get, some of them are stabbed in the ground, literally. And so, and I explain to people, I say, hey, bears are capable of this. Bears will climb up so high, and their weight and momentum will bring that tree down, and cause it, the weight will swing, it'll be jolted down into the ground. And yeah, they might get, from the fibers being stretched. To me, it's always a logical explanation behind a lot of what we find. And a lot of people automatically assume that Bigfoot's responsible. And and like I tell people, and the way I have to look at things, Bigfoot should be the last, suspect with
Right.
what we find. And
Yeah.
that's easier said than done, because I know numerous times I've gone out there and want to believe, hey, Sasquatch, I think, did this. I could go out in the woods and point at every broken tree out there and say Bigfoot did it. I would be wrong. And
A lot of guys just they don't take the time to pay attention to the appropriate signs, the
right.
footprints, the things, where, a lot of guys will go back and they'll try to follow structures and do things, and it's really ended nowhere. They've got no, credible results from it. They're not trying to, if I'm a Bigfooter and I'm really going to go out there and research and you find some tracks, why aren't you tracking it? Why aren't you trying to keep going until that trackway ends? Or at least come back the next day, follow it in, figure out what you're doing. It's like nobody has a goal. Like Daniel, I'm not being rude or anything, but I think you like to be, because I honestly don't think you have a goal in this. I think you just like doing it, and that you like to teach people more than anything about what you see or what you found, right? So,
right. I mean, yeah, that's how I like to inform people. I'm more of I like to say, I'm not no professor. I don't have no degree in any scientific background, but I like to explain and try to inform people, in the most logical way, when I do come across stuff, because, I do have a general area I like to focus in, and I expand and go in different areas, check out, see what might be interesting in there. So, yeah, I mean,
the way I look at it is, not to cut you off, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
The way I look at it is, if I'm going to spend like all this time and all this money and doing what I do, I want to have, it needs to be fruitful in some, aspect at the end of the rainbow, whatever it is. So I'm trying, I look at it as, how can I get what I need to try to not just show evidence, but I want, like I said, the sample, the something fruitful that can be tested. Not looking at a tree structure, not looking, at whatever. I'm tired of casting footprints. I don't even think I'm going to do it anymore, unless it's, something totally substantial. I mean, between me and two of my other researchers and two other guys, that I talked to, one from Missouri and one from another state, we've got enough casts to whatever, but it's just, where does it end? So you start looking at things like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Where am I going to get? So, like, I'm the type of guy, I want an answer. So I'm going to have a goal in sight, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like, if I'm going to buckle down and be strict with this, after 5, 6, 7 years, it's like, you've done it all, you've seen it all. I wrote my books, I did some things, and I'm all about trying to just, get what I need, because I do want to prove it. I do want, the public should know what is out there. We're taught in books that none of this stuff is here. You know what I mean? That none of that is written in any textbook about a Bigfoot. So I think it should be. Honestly, like, and the only way that's going to happen is if it's like discovered. Like, if there's a sample or, something. I mean, it could be saliva, it could be scat, it could be hair, whatever type of sample that actually gets us to where we need to be. I just look at it as like, I need a goal. I can't just go out there and walk around and be like, well, like Fred's brother, he could be like that because he's skeptical. He hasn't seen one. So when you've seen one, it changes your perspective, as I said. So, like, now I have a goal. It's like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to get. This is how I want to do it, and just go from there. I don't even like teaching people anymore, because when you teach people, in my in my opinion, they change the whole aspect of it. So they take it, they absorb it, and then they put their spin on it. And then after 10 people do that, it's crazy. It's then you start seeing 500 Bigfoots in a photo.
Yeah. No, one thing you mentioned, I'm the same way. I have a small collection of tracks, and I have come across tracks, since then, and I haven't made a cast of a track in a long time. And I'll post if I come across one. Yeah, I'm gonna take a picture of it. I'm gonna try to use something for scale to show you how big it is and show you the area where I'm finding it and look around. I'll show on film if there's more around. I'll try to show them if there is. And the thing is, I get people, oh, did you cast it? No. So for one reason, I didn't have the material with me. Second, even if I did, I don't feel that it's necessary unless because a lot of the tracks I got they look okay, but I want to find my thing is if I'm going to cast more tracks, I want them to be like what. So man, some of these people got some beautiful looking tracks. The details are real good. I'm waiting to find tracks that look like that. And I've seen some that look close to it, but I'm very picky. I felt like in a way I've stepped up my game when it comes to tracks. I want to be able to find something that's more. I don't know, just something where the plaster is going to just just like if I stepped in the mud, you're going to see a nice clear track. Well, that's what I'm after. I want to see those kind of tracks.
Right. No, I completely understand that too. But then I look at that, look how much work Don Meldrum has done. And where has that gotten us? Right. He's got a hell of a collection from all over the world. I'm sure you've seen some of his stuff too. And it's gotten us nowhere. And he's, leading a scientific field that says these dermal ridges and certain things aren't correct. And, it should. That's why he believes, I'm sure. I think he actually had a sighting or something happen with standing that time. I'm not sure, but
yeah, I'm not sure about that either.
But I mean, his research has virtually got us nowhere. And look at some of the, computer graphics that he's done. And so it's like, really, the only thing that is going to work is a sample. Like you said, though, like casting tracks, I'm over it. Like, unless it's grade A, top notch, just so I have it for my collection. Mm-hmm. Then I'm game to cast it, but like you said, every time you go in the woods, that was the problem. Like I was having to take the hydrocal with me in the backpack. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then, the times you don't have it is when you find something and it's, I don't know.
Yeah, that's how it was for me. Like when I go out in the woods, if I bring a backpack, it's my lightweight backpack that I usually use for hunting, where I maybe bring some bottles of water, or maybe have an extra light in there if I'm going to be out there past dark or whatever it may be. But yeah, when I was on the, hunt for looking for, if I come across tracks, I was carried, I brought my rucksack, which was a lot more, a lot bigger. And I would carry the plaster in there, a couple of big things of water. And that there was a lot of weight, and I think I need to start doing it again because I was actually losing weight doing that because some of the places I've hiked was a workout having a big rucksack on me, but
people don't really take into consideration if you've got a 20-pound backpack on with all your stuff, carrying a camera and doing your things, and you just hike up a hill that's half a mile. That is you feel it, put in a mile or two and you're tired and they just don't get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why a lot of these, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say like the national forests out here, Jeff could tell you, he's very familiar with a lot of the, national forests here in Virginia, especially here in the Shenandoah Valley. And where I go, I'm out in the West Augusta, which is not far from the Coal Road area. Both for 35, 40 minutes or so. And some of the areas I hike and trek up there, there's some pretty deep areas. And I've hiked on trails, I've hiked off trail. And some of the areas I've hiked at, they're literally, I average between 2 to 5 miles, most of the times when I go out. I think the last time I was out there, one of the last times I was out there, there was a trail in the area. I decided, I'm going to hike this trail, stay on the trail. And it was about just a little over 4 miles. And, I was like, oh, okay. It seemed like it was going on forever the way it was designed. But sometimes I feel like it's not always how far you go in, but But sometimes the deeper you go in, if you're deep enough in the right direction, I think it's worth it. You know. Um, Another thing I wanted to bring up too, as far as you talking about goals, basically one of the things I talk about a lot is the awareness. And when I speak to people, even the local seminars, when you get new people that might be skeptics or just curious about the subject yourself, I try to keep it as simple as possible when I do presentations. I like to show what I find, and and keep, like I said, keep it simple and explain things in a logical way, or as some of us call it, scientifically speaking. And to get people to understand that that we are taking this serious. It's not just us going out in the woods all the time. And but the big thing part of it is, yeah, have fun. If a lot of us do this because we enjoy being out in the woods and learning about nature, and that's a big part of it for me. I don't always talk about Bigfoot. People need to become aware of wildlife, and people neglect wildlife. People claim they know wildlife, but you'd be surprised how little they really know, especially identifying tracks. I seen bear tracks identified as canine tracks. I seen canine tracks identified as some of those things could be slightly easily confusing to some people. We know that bear tracks could be misidentified as squash tracks, because their hind foot could be almost humanoid looking. Especially if you got a good, clear double step bear track, very deceiving. I've been fooled by that myself. I'm not going to lie. I have. So, and that's why I like to try to present this information so people could, if they're going to get involved or if they are involved, they need to pay a little bit more close attention to what's out there. And I hear, I'm sure you've heard it, oh, there's no bears in my area. Well, just because you don't see them doesn't mean they're there. Do some research online or something. Because I don't always see bears when I go in my area, but I know they're heavily populated. Bears are very smart. There's a number of reasons why I compare bears to Sasquatches. Bears are very elusive on the most part, even though they are seen more commonly than a squatch. So bears, bears and squatches, there's a lot of similarities, a lot of comparisons I do with bears and squatches for a number of reasons, but I won't get into that tonight. But so yeah, when it comes to squatching, Bigfooting, being out in the field, to me the biggest thing is, think about nature and wildlife, and learn, become familiar with that. So yeah. So so sorry, I'm just blabbing on. Say, okay, Pauline said, I'm just listening. She said it is interesting. So
I just jumped on my laptop. That's why you probably seen me go down and then come back on.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Hey,
all right.
Hey, I had to plug my phone in. Let me know if you get any backlash audio or whatever.
Oh no, you're fine.
Yeah, it's good.
Just so you know, the Kansas City's winning 28-24. Then there's only 25 seconds left.
What?
Kansas City's winning? Oh my gosh! Chiefs and the Rams. Chiefs and the Rams.
Man.
I'm sure New England will pull it off. Actually, I hope that they do so Brady can retire.
What's that?
What's that?
I'm sorry.
I heard some ooh.
I saw ooh, ooh, ooh.
Oh,
I heard Bigfoot in the background.
How big of a black bear? I think that's what he means. He said black beard, but I think he meant black bear.
Oh, I thought he was talking about you.
Oh no. No, he's asking how big of a black bear have I seen? It was actually across the road on me. It was out there by Elkhorn Lake. About 2-3 years ago, and I will say that thing had been around 500 pounds, easily. Oh. Yeah, but I was in my vehicle. It was about 10 o'clock at night. I was headed out on the forest road. It was, Jeff, if you're headed out of the national forest right before you Yeah, if you're headed out right before you get to Braley's Pond, you got the big field on the side.
Yeah.
If you headed out before you get out to 250, yeah, there was this big, massive black bear. I swear, the back it was running, it was going across the road, and his back was probably just above the hood of my Blazer at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a big black bear. Dad said he seen a massive one up on the Cole Road. Probably about I think a year. Yeah, it was about a couple years, about a year or so ago.
Uh-huh.
He was over on that at the camp where I usually camp next to where Fred camps, and you got the two trails over there. You got the lower trail and the one that goes up the hill. Dad said he was up the hill and he was up top there where it kind of leveled out. And Dad said he was staring, looking around, and he seen like some burnt stumps up there. But he was staring at him, thought something looked out of the ordinary, and he kept staring. And all of a sudden, he sees this big, massive head just stand, pop up.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like basically face to face. He was probably a good 20, 30 feet from it. And Dad slowly started backing up. He had his 7mm R8 in his hand. But as he slowly started backing up, of course, the bear, after a few seconds, turned off and went off the other way. But Dad said that was the biggest black bear he's ever seen. He said that thing had to been between 500 and 600 pounds. So,
wow.
But yeah,
I saw one time that was probably, I'm just guessing, about 300 pounds.
Oh yeah.
But you don't see them too often, though.
Absolutely.
Daniel, I was gonna share a photo if you don't mind, because I'd like to get your guys' opinion on it.
Oh yeah.
Just so you know, the Patriots just freaking scored.
What? Really?
30 I told you.
30-28 with 39 seconds left.
That's how they do. That's how they do. That's how they do. They ain't going down that easily.
Honestly, I hope they win so Brady can retire.
Oh, that would be nice.
You guys hate Brady. You hate.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's all good. That made me happy because I'm not watching it. Yeah, they've done that before. They have done that before at the last minute.
Yeah.
Can you guys see this photo?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Here, hold on. I'm gonna click on your profile so it presents to everyone. All right, there we go.
Ooh, it looks like ET.
So I know it's blurry. I hope. Can you see my mouse moving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So when we took this photo, you can see what looks like a black outline, right? But I know other people talk about eye illumination. See that?
Right. Yeah.
What would you think that this would be? This photo we took was probably 80 yards or something like that away. And we had, I can't say that we seen the eyes specifically, but we seen some glowing or something that made us take the picture that we were talking about. And we took like 3 or 4 pictures. And in one of them, this is what we got. And when I look at it, there's definitely something symmetrical to the eyes. And I know Matt Moneymaker used to talk about bioluminescence and stuff like that. And people talk about seeing eye shine and glowing. And I don't know. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. But I was just going to try to get your guys' opinion on what you would think that is. I mean, because I have no idea. Like, could it be a Bigfoot? It could be, but it's odd to capture the eye shine when a lot of people don't capture that at all, but they talk about it.
You want a skeptic's opinion?
Yeah, 100%. Like, honestly.
I would say it's the eye shine is too similar, because if you go to the left, you have that same color mixed in with that light brown. So I would question if they're eyes at all, because that green sort of is all spattered all around the light brown. That same shade of green.
And it's coming off that branch on the top.
And,
yeah, I think that's what I was talking about.
I see exactly what Jeff is talking about. Yeah, if you look at what appears to be eyes, yeah, look to the direct left of that. You can see
Right.
it's not as illuminated, but you can see that coloration of it.
Mhm.
So
No, it's good. Like, that's why I like to talk about these things and share these things. I mean, I've got all kinds of pictures that I could talk about. You know what I mean? And it's just,
But it looks like Mothman too.
yeah.
from Bigfoot to Mothman.
Yeah, it looks like Mothman.
I was trying to find that original picture, Nikki, that we had talked about.
Oh yeah.
That you, oh my God, I have it, but it's a different one because I had highlighted it for my book for the Bigfoot Report, but
I can't
let me
remember.
see
I
this
can't
one.
remember because Ryan and I used to compare pictures a lot because Ryan was trying to get together at the time a group of individuals to
It worked. It was going to work for a little bit.
Yeah, we were
until
trying to peer review photos in just by ourselves. No public. Okay, it was just a select few who were in on this group. And we tried to do it and it almost started to work and
yeah,
kind of fell apart.
I had heard a name of an individual that she kind of put it to a halt with the other people that were in the group. They didn't want to piss her off because she had already been involved in some lawsuits before. And that was one of the things that, you know, but I wish it would have worked. I was just really trying to find that photo, and it gives something for the viewers, you know what I mean, to just take a look at. I have a black and white of my screenshot. Let me see. That's a black and white of the photo that I use as my screen thing for Google.
And I can see what appears to be like the hood of the nose, if I'm looking at that right.
Yeah, I'll share the original here in a minute, the actual original from the game camera. But you have what's a head or some type of side profile here, and you can see the hair in the original. I'll go ahead. I'll share that real quick with you guys. And I think it's very compelling. I mean, I've got so many photos; it's unreal. Like when you for years, and oh my lord.
What time of year was this taken? Judging
It
from the
says,
background, it looks spring.
yeah, it's right on the camera. There should be a date. I can't offhand. When I find the original here and I pull it up, we'll be able to see it, I think, on the camera stamp date.
Yeah, it looks like it's late spring because the green foliage is in. So,
I was just
or
trying
maybe
to
summertime.
find, I think this is the original right here. It was taken July 8th, 2016 at 6:46 p.m., which what I was telling you made it relative because at 6 p.m. every day we were there to refill it. And the repeatability factor is like they waited off until we would leave and, you know, come in and check things out. And that's the original photo. It's shrunken down, but I could probably do that for you. But you'll see like hair hanging off the forehead right here a little bit or whatever.
I can see that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. And it's got this big, what we call pronounced, like I would say that this is a forehead with like a brow ridge here, which goes down to a side of a cheek. And it's kind of looking that direction, which this is the direction that we had our habituation station in, which was like over in here.
Oh, okay. I see. Now that you explain that, I can see that because see right there what you were calling the eyebrow ridge. I was thinking that might have been a nose, but yeah, now with that perspective, the way you explain that.
Yeah, if you look up here, you'll see the hair. And it
Sure,
kind of hangs.
Sure, that
Go
thing
ahead.
doesn't have buck teeth and play the banjo.
Right? No, I mean, that's one of my, you know, I regard that as pretty good, you know,
It's one of the better ones I've seen.
evidence. Yeah. This one is doctored because I can't find the original. Let's Let me. Am I still sharing that other one or no?
No.
Okay, so let me go. This is the one that me and Nikki argued about. I have the originals. Oh my lord, what happened? I got hundreds of sharings there. This isn't the one I want to share, but this is the one me and Nikki argued about with the nose looking or the eyes. This is actually a log, but I wish I could find the original because it's a lot better.
Yep. I remember.
You remember?
I remember now.
Yeah.
Hey, they're going into overtime, just so y'all know.
Oh, Jesus. Again?
Oh,
Both games into overtime? Wow.
Oh, they scored, huh?
Yep. 31
What's
31.
Oh my lord.
mm-mm.
I think everybody's watching the game. I still have photos that I'm going through when what's his name came out here. Oh my God, searching for Bigfoot. What's his name?
Cliff?
No, not Cliff.
Bobo.
No, the guy we all dislike.
Matt?
No, not them.
Matt Moneymaker.
No, Biscardi.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh.
Biscardi. Oh, yeah, he is that. Searching for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I haven't heard much from him at all. I don't pay attention, I guess.
That's usually dangerous.
Have you all ever heard of Timber Giant Bigfoot?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What happened with him?
He just took a break.
Because
He stopped.
I saw Tim Fasano posted up a video hoping he'd get him to come out, and he did say that he's coming back, but neither one of them said what was happening.
I think he put one out like last month, but it was just him talking and about what he's been up to and stuff.
I mean, everybody took a break. I think we got tired of it, or just the things that were going on, and there was so much backlash with everybody and everything, and oh my God, it just got to be, I don't know. And then with YouTube demonetizing certain things, and I mean, at one point you could make a living on this. You really could. You know, when you start making good money every month, people will start to do things just for the money. You know what I mean? And
right.
It's not feasible, but that's where a lot of these channels have gone, and it's gotten ridiculous.
Hey, we didn't say nothing bad about Fred because he did we? Because he just went live.
Oh no, we haven't even talked about him.
I know.
I've been chatting with him. I said nobody's concerned about talking about
you. So he's probably bored now.
Yeah. Any input on this type of photo?
Nothing. I don't see anything.
Okay.
I have to say it's inconclusive, in my opinion. I mean,
right? Me too. Yep. One of our guys had snapped it, and you can see this brown figure, which looks like it had some type of lip here, which looked like it had some type of nose here, which some type of eyes, but it's not even definitive.
Yeah, I see that, but
I just like to share for the viewers. You know what I mean? At least they get to see something.
I think the way it's clinging up towards that tree, it's kind of part of that tree. I don't know.
A lot of times we talk about things, but we never get to share any good stuff or decent stuff. And this one here I'm going to share. It was weird to me because I'll let you guys pick it apart. I'll let you do that. How's that sound? It's the best way to do it.
That's interesting.
What I want you to take a look at is let's take a look at it from a skeptic. That's just a black hole in some trees. I want you to look at where the hairline would be and where it comes down to almost like a V partition. And it looks like you can see the actual hair. I don't really know. but it almost looks like you've got a leg here, and you could see through to grass or whatever. And is it conclusive? I don't know. But
Where's the head?
that's what up here. Like if you would look at like that, like a shoulder, like a leg. You know
And what appears to be the face almost looks like it's got a beak to it.
That's weird, right?
Yeah, because it's attached to that tree right there. That's part of that tree.
Or is that a tree limb blocking the rest of it? Like maybe that's not even the face, maybe that's a tree limb.
That could be.
Because
What kind of was that a pine tree or what is kind of trees back there?
These are aspens, and then there's some maples back here, and behind that would go into some pines.
So mainly all hardwood right there. So.
Well, I was trying to see if it had pine needles back there, but if he's saying that, then those aren't pine needles.
Because right below where I said what looked like a beak protruding out from what might be the face, you can see the green foliage right in front of it there.
Right.
So
it gives it depth, actually. So that's what I was trying to say. I'm pretty sure it wasn't just like a black void, because then you could see through here. It was just,
I can see what it is. The shape that it looks like gives it that 3D look. Aren't you got the one tall tree in the center.
Yeah, and the one
right below the beak, you got those two little green things. Those are limbs coming off another tree.
Yeah, because you can see the tree angle out in the background.
Same here.
Exactly, and it kind of gave that black shape a 3D look.
Think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I was thinking it looked like hair coming off shoulders or something. And
the top
and that leg thing, it's just the limbs giving it the shape.
Because the top where Ryan was pointing at where what may have been the top of the head, it looks like it's an Elvis hairdo.
Yeah, but that's why when Nikki pointed that out, right? Exactly. I thought maybe that was a limb. This whole gray thing was protruding out, blocking whatever facial feature it had.
I mean, once I look at those green things as limbs, I can't see the black shape like I was when I first saw it.
Yeah, not the same.
Right. No, that's cool. I like to analyze things.
Angel on the live chat said it's a graduate in a cap and gown.
Yeah, now I see that.
Oh my Lord, here we go.
See, folks, we like to have fun on here. There's nothing wrong with that.
You have to. I mean, really, what are you doing it for? If, I think there was one Daniel said that he actually seen the face on. Let me see. There was two. Well, that one's going downhill. Was it this one? I can't.
I was probably lying to you to make you feel better. No, I'm just joking.
Hey, you don't have to lie to me.
I'm just messing with you.
I love honest opinions.
I know.
That's why I do it, man. That's why, just trying to go through all these, and then we can, whatever. I was just trying to share some to bide the time.
Hey, Jeff, I'm going to invite you to the conference to be a speaker. You can speak with Fred. See how that would go.
No, that wouldn't work at all.
Why you don't get along with? He's your brother, you said, or?
Yeah, this old.
Yeah.
No, you guys don't really talk.
Him being him and me being me don't work too well. I mean, we get along great, but not about Bigfoot.
Well, everybody's got their own opinion. You know what I mean? But you can't.
Yeah, but mine don't matter sometimes.
What? Oh, your opinion?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've never seen one, so my
that's pretty normal for siblings.
It's unhealthy.
Well,
sometimes.
Yeah, I can understand because your debate versus your debate with that never seen one. That's what he. I know he likes to use that, but
Well,
but he's got a challenge for those who have seen them, claim to have seen them. So
if he shows me a good one, I'll come on over.
now, I don't know if you've ever seen a lot of it. He has some. I actually, I told him my honest opinion about a lot. He shares a lot of stuff with me, and I've always given Fred my honest opinion on him, regardless if I don't believe it was something there, or could be pareidolia. But he does have some that I told him. I said, I think you really got something here.
Well, he had one. I shared this with you already, Daniel. But,
Yeah.
And I wanted him to show me where he took the picture or where he took the video. And I told him what I expected to see when we got out in the woods. And we got out and we couldn't quite figure out where he stood, but in the direction of the video was exactly what I expected to find. And we argued for 20 minutes, just yelling at each other out in the woods. And
the Bigfoots are probably watching.
Probably. And he knows the way I feel about it. And we stopped arguing. We walked away, and it wasn't 50 yards through the woods. He's like, "Hey, I saw one over there the other day." It's like we never argued at all. He was right back to being himself.
Wow. Yeah. Have you ever seen the one? Well, it was from a video. I remember seeing the video, and there's one particular video he did a screenshot of that he zoomed way in on, and some people claim they had debunked it as something else, but to me, and there's one particular image, it's from his video called "On the Hill."
That's the one we were arguing about.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the one where he zoomed in, because he did a comparison video to that one, and where it looked like he pointed out, you could see the exact limbs that were everything there, and it looked like in that video there, it looked like there was something sitting there that had brown hair on it.
In the video, it looked exactly like an ape sitting there.
Right.
It wasn't moving. And I think it was a couple trees down.
Oh.
And that's what we found out there, but he stuck with his story. So, I mean, I can argue with him, but I'm not going to call him a liar.
Right.
But,
yeah, because that one there, I thought was like I thought he really had something in that one, because it looked like you could see like the shoulder and maybe like the back side of the head or something, of something sitting there.
It was a good one, but I don't think it was real.
Yeah. What about his other image he has, where it looks like it looks like in the frame shot of the video, it looks like there's a face sitting there. It looked like it had thick eyebrow ridges. You could see what appeared to be dark sockets of the eyes and a nose.
Yep, I remember that one. That was the first one I debunked.
Really?
Yep.
What was that one?
It was the bark on the tree.
Really?
But I'm not going to call him a liar. He says he saw something. But if he gives me a good one and I can't debunk it, then I'll admit it. But
yeah. Very interesting.
I liked one of Fred's pictures too.
Which one's that?
I'm not going to tell you anymore because I'm not.
Because you don't want me to debunk it.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Nikki.
I want to believe it's real, so I'm not going to say anything.
Which one is it?
I have to play nice.
Bless your heart.
But I got to bite on something. No, I'm just kidding. There are things I want to know, but Fred can tell me to his face. I'm done with doing this live now, I guess.
No, I was telling Daniel earlier, I look at this Bigfoot thing like Christianity. It's you can have all the faith you want that something exists, but when you tell people something is real, the burden of proof is on you, just like a Christian. The burden of proof is on a Christian.
I can see the light coming down.
And a Christian can't prove that God is real. Can God make a rock so heavy that he can't lift it? Stuff like that. And in the Bigfoot community, everyone has faith, but you can't say someone else's faith is wrong because you're not 100% yourself.
Right.
So, I mean, so you got to have a dead body. Where's the dead body?
Right.
I think that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm gonna actually hop off here. I gotta get in the shower. So it's been good talking with you, and nice meeting you, Fred's brother there.
All right, it's nice meeting you too.
Have a good night. Later, guys.
All right, take it easy, Ryan. Yeah.
Shoot. Bye, Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah. As much as I say I don't believe in killing one, I do believe it's going to take a body as well. And I stated that several times too. But there's other things that I would like to get into speaking about that I had brought up before, and regarding what some of us consider evidence that could be considered evidence to science, that science does not accept. I know, different protocols and different procedures that could lead to them considering it as a part of a piece of evidence. But that's just a little bit of brief stuff I've learned from one of my past speakers, which I occasionally keep in touch with, Mr. Darby Orcutt from North Carolina State University, and he's actually brought up a lot of good points and shared a lot of awesome information with me regarding that there. But it'll be too much to get into talking about that tonight. But with all that being said, yeah, there's very little bit of time left. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my evening before I have to go to bed, because it's been a long day, actually long last 2 days working at McDonald's. I got to go to my regular job tomorrow now.
Yeah.
So, but tell you what, McDonald's, I haven't done fast food since I was in high school, so it's a lot of work. being on your feet, and
Rushing
they got me working the run. I'm still learning, getting used to the register. So guess what?
Huh?
My mom just messaged me. Went to the Super Bowl.
Oh, the Patriots won?
Yep, my mom just sent me the message.
Oh, Lord.
Oh.
Okay. Guess gotta go for the Rams.
So, so I'm sorry on my part. That's some good information that we just ended with right there. So, all right. I just got told I need to invite Bobo to my conference. If I could afford Bobo, I would. I know I have actually been in communication with Cliff actually about a year ago, a little over a year ago actually. Because he was actually returning my emails. We were emailing back and forth, and then I got to speak with him when I went to Ohio at the Ohio Bigfoot Conference, and I actually had 2 different conversations with him there, which was awesome. And man, the guy is awesome. He's so down to earth, and same thing with Jeff Meldrum. Jeff Meldrum, you see him on these documentaries and videos, but you get to talk to him. He's very informative and very, he dumbs. I don't want to be careful how I say this. He breaks things down the way you can understand it. When we ask him questions, there was a group of it was me, Sam, Tracy Arnold, a few others. We were all hanging around and just chit chatting with Jeff, and they're awesome people. If anyone ever gets a chance to meet them, they're fascinating people. So, but
what do they charge? Like $3 or $4 grand just to come out?
Cliff, he's got a flat rate around $2,500. But he is willing to work. Work. He had mentioned he was willing to work with me, considering this past event was our first one.
Yeah.
But because the fees, they cover, their airfare, their lodging and everything and all that good stuff. But now, like, we had Ronald J. Moorhead. He was one of our big guests at our past event. Now, one of our sponsors to our event covered his costs. But if you add up everything it cost, it was probably over $2,500 for him too.
Yeah.
He came all the way from Washington State to be a part of our event. So, yeah, because it was him and his wife. They flew out here. Their lodging was covered at the hotel that was next to the venue, and their meals were taken care of. So yeah, because they had to get picked up at an airport, and so our sponsor took care of all that, which was awesome. So
Nice.
so yeah, trust me. So yeah, there's costs involved, and so that's why we got our sponsors, our sponsorship funds started coming in. So because I got I got a contract signed and everything. It's already turned in. So the venue's already booked, but I do have a deposit. My first deposit for the venue is actually due in March. So yeah.
How much is this conference?
It's only $30 per ticket right now. So
And how many days is it going to be?
well, as of right now, it's set for 1 day right now. I did have it set for 2, but right now, to make sure I could cover the cost of the venue, I had the contract revised to 1 day, and they did tell me if things change, I could always add on the second day. But so just the 1 day alone, it's costing $2,000. So yeah, the second day is going to be another $1,500. So if I do that.
Yeah.
So out of the 2 days, Saturday is the most expensive. Sunday's a little cheaper, but
time to make some more T-shirts.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I got some other sponsors. Well, like I said, I had one sponsor already submit their funds, and I'm waiting on others. So one other that's committed to it. She's a very reliable source, and so I'm just being patient. They guarantee I would have it before March. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's good.
So absolutely. So maybe we can get one of the. Maybe we get the candies to sponsor. No, I'm just joking. All right, you guys have a good night. I'll talk with you guys later.
All right, bye-bye.
All right.
Peace.